Plagued by fear and corruption emerged a man whose very name struck terror into the heart of all narcos. This is the legendary tale of El Marino Loco, the Marine who defied reason and became the nightmare of drug lords. In 2010, El Marino Loco went viral due to his unorthodox methods of capturing sicarios, earning a reputation that spread far and wide. Eric Morales Guevara, also known as El Marino Loco, grew up in a small town in northern Mexico overrun by dangerous cartels. Despite the temptations and pressure around him, he stood strong and said no to joining the cartels. Instead, he made a bold decision to dedicate his life to bringing down these narco criminals. His main target was the Gulf Cartel, the very organization that had brought so much destruction to his hometown. He saw them as a dangerous infection that threatened Mexico and its people. Eric was on a mission to dismantle the cartel and bring justice to those who had caused so much pain and suffering. In the last 2 decades, the Gulf Cartel had experienced a significant decline in both its size and profits, and El Marino played a pivotal role in this downfall. By the time the 2010s rolled around, Eric had earned himself various monikers: El Marino Loco, the Fearless Marine, El Martillo, and even Mr. Thor, a name inspired by the weird tool he carried wherever he went. Now, this tool wasn't your typical hammer. It was a meat tenderizer typically employed in the creation of delectable schnitzels. However, it had a different purpose for El Marino, a special weapon for dealing with resistant narcos. The mere mention of Mr. Thor's presence was enough to quell any thoughts of resistance. Join us on an unforgettable journey as we explore the depths of El Marino Loco's sinister psyche and the dangerous game of cat and mouse that ensues. Prepare for shocking revelations and a gripping narrative that will keep you hooked till the very end. In the ruthless world of Mexican cartels, where power and money drive everything, El Marino Loco rose to prominence through his unyielding determination and unconventional tactics. His rise began with a viral video in 2010, showcasing his unorthodox methods of capturing sicarios, which quickly spread across social media and news outlets. This video catapulted him into the spotlight, earning him a reputation as a fearless and relentless Marine who dared to challenge the cartels. Born and raised in a small town plagued by cartels, El Marino Loco witnessed firsthand the devastation and fear they brought upon his community. Instead of succumbing to the allure of the cartel lifestyle, he made a bold decision to stand against them, becoming a symbol of hope and defiance for his people. His main target was the Gulf Cartel, a powerful and ruthless organization that had ravaged his hometown. He saw them as a cancer that needed to be eradicated, and he was willing to do whatever it took to bring them down. Through a series of aggressive raids and arrests, El Marino Loco struck fear into the hearts of cartel members, earning the respect of both civilians and law enforcement officials. Despite facing numerous challenges and threats on his life, El Marino Loco remained undeterred, continuing his crusade against the cartels with unwavering resolve. His actions not only disrupted cartel operations, but also inspired others to stand up against the tyranny of the drug lords. El Marino Loco's military training and skills played a crucial role in his effectiveness as a leader in capturing drug lords. Born Eric Morales Guevara, El Marino Loco joined the Mexican Navy and quickly rose through the ranks due to his exceptional abilities and fearless approach to combating crime. His training equipped him with the necessary skills to lead high-risk operations against dangerous drug cartels, particularly the Gulf Cartel, in the states of Tamaulipas and Nuevo León. One of El Marino Loco's key strengths was his tactical acumen. He was known for his ability to plan and execute operations with precision, often catching drug lords off guard. His understanding of military strategy allowed him to outmaneuver his opponents and achieve his objectives efficiently. Additionally, El Marino Loco was adept at gathering intelligence and using it to his advantage, allowing him to anticipate the movements of his targets and plan his operations accordingly. In terms of special tactics and strategies, El Marino Loco is known for his unorthodox approach to capturing drug lords. Instead of relying solely on traditional military tactics, he employed psychological warfare to demoralize and intimidate his targets. One of his signature tactics was to humiliate captured drug lords by making them wear women's clothing and perform demeaning acts. While controversial, this tactic was effective in undermining the authority and reputation of the drug lords, making them more vulnerable to capture. Another tactic used by El Marino Loco was the use of deception. He was known to use decoys and misinformation to confuse his enemies and gain the upper hand in battles. By keeping his opponents guessing, he was able to maintain the element of surprise and achieve his objectives with minimal casualties. El Marino Loco's leadership style was also a key factor in his success. He was known for leading by example. often putting himself in harm's way to protect his team and achieve his goals. His bravery and dedication inspired loyalty and respect among his fellow Marines, making them more effective as a unit. In the annals of crime-fighting history, few figures stand out as distinctly as El Marino Loco, the Mexican Marine who took on drug lords with his unorthodox methods and fearless approach. His tactics, though controversial, bear similarities to other famous crime fighters and vigilantes, yet his impact on crime in the underworld is uniquely his own. Imagine a world where justice is meted out not by the courts, but by individuals driven by a sense of duty and righteousness. El Marino Loco, born Eric Morales Guevara, epitomizes this notion, drawing parallels to other legendary figures such as Elliot Ness, who took on Al Capone during Prohibition in the United States. Both Ness and El Marino Loco operated outside the norm, using unconventional methods to bring down notorious criminals. While Ness used legal means, El Marino Loco's approach was more direct, often employing tactics that skirted the edges of legality. Another comparison can be drawn to Frank Serpico, the New York detective who exposed corruption within the police force. Like Serpico, El Marino Loco was a whistleblower of sorts, exposing the brutal tactics employed by drug cartels and the lengths they would go to maintain their power. However, while Serpico's actions led to reforms within the NYPD, El Marino Loco's impact was more immediate and visceral, striking fear into the hearts of drug lords and earning him a reputation as a force to be reckoned with. In the context of Mexican law enforcement, El Marino Loco stands out as a unique figure, distinct from traditional police officers or military personnel. While many Mexican law enforcers have bravely fought against drug cartels, few have adopted El Marino Loco's bold and confrontational tactics. His willingness to directly challenge the authority of drug lords and his use of psychological warfare set him apart from his counterparts. Comparing El Marino Loco to other Mexican law enforcers, such as Genaro Garcia Luna or Arturo Beltran Leyva, reveals stark differences in approach and impact. While Garcia Luna and Beltran Leyva were influential figures in Mexicans' war on drugs, their methods were more conventional, focusing on traditional law enforcement tactics and strategies. El Marino Loco, on the other hand, was a maverick, willing to go to extremes to achieve his goals.
Échame más tus pinches mentiras, ojete.
No, jefe, pues es la puritita verdad lo que le digo. Es todo.
Te voy a matar, cabrón.
Ay, Diosito santo. Ay.
No metas a Dios en esto, cabrón. Te voy a tomar una foto para tenerte en mi colección
Simón.
de uno de los tantos pendejetes
Okay, jefe.
que han llorado, cabrón, diciendo que no tiene nada, mas sin embargo eres un maldito lacra de la pinche sociedad,
Okay.
que envenena, cabrón. Pero le agradezco a Dios que te manden para así poder divertirme con ustedes, ojete. Y agradece que no tengo mi martillo, cabrón.
El Marino Loco's reputation as a fearless Marine was further solidified by his unorthodox choice of weapon, a meat tenderizer he effectively called Mr. Thor. This seemingly innocuous tool became a symbol of fear for cartel members, as its mere presence was enough to quell any thoughts of resistance. Unlike a typical hammer, Mr. Thor was not used for culinary purposes. Instead, it served as a special weapon in El Marino Loco's arsenal, specifically designed for dealing with resistant narcos. The sight of Mr. Thor struck fear into the hearts of cartel members, as they know that defiance would only lead to severe consequences.
Hey, tenemos una herida, Aguas. Aguas. Dale,
El Marino Loco's raids in the Tamaulipas and Nuevo Leon regions were marked by the presence of Mr. Thor, a constant reminder of his unwavering determination to bring down the cartels. His aggressive tactics and fearless demeanor earned him various monikers, including El Marino Loco, the Fearless Marine, and Mr. Thor, names that struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. One of the most significant operations involving Mr. Thor was the apprehension of Comandante Toro, a prominent figure in the Gulf Cartel. Despite being abruptly transferred to Tampico, El Marino Loco remained undeterred and launched a relentless campaign against Comandante Toro, disrupting his operations and seizing illegal substances. This aggressive pursuit of justice led to violent confrontations with the Mexican army, underscoring the dangers El Marino Loco faced in his quest to dismantle the cartels. However, his actions were not without consequences, as Comandante Toro placed a significant bounty on his head, highlighting the threat he posed to the cartels.
Échame más tus pinches mentiras, ojete.
No, jefe, pues es la puritita verdad lo que le digo. Es todo.
Te voy a matar, cabrón.
Ay, Diosito santo. Ay, ay, ay.
No metas a Dios en esto, cabrón. Te voy a tomar una foto para tenerte en mi colección
Simón.
de uno de los tantos pendejetes
Ok, jefe.
que han llorado, cabrón, diciendo que no tiene nada, mas sin embargo eres un maldito lacra de la pinche sociedad,
Ok.
que envenena, cabrón. Pero le agradezco a Dios que te manden para así poder divertirme con ustedes, ojete.
El Marino Loco's strategies were as unconventional as they were effective. He understood that to defeat the cartels, he needed to sit with them where it hurts the most, their pride and reputation. El Marino didn't just arrest sicarios, he went a step further, employing psychological warfare to humiliate them publicly. This tactic was more than just a means of asserting dominance, it was a strategic move to weaken the cartel's hold on communities through fear and intimidation. El Marino's actions sent shockwaves through the cartel world. His unorthodox methods and relentless pursuit of justice earned him a reputation as a formidable opponent. The cartels, once untouchable, now feared the name El Marino Loco. His actions disrupted their operations, leading to significant arrests and seizures of illegal substances. El Marino became a symbol of resistance against the cartels, inspiring others to stand up against their tyranny. Despite the challenges he faced, El Marino remained steadfast in his mission. His legacy lives on as a reminder of the power of one individual's determination to make a difference. While his current whereabouts remain unknown, rumors persist of his continued involvement in the fight against the cartels. Whether retired or still active, El Marino's impact on the drug trade in Mexico is undeniable. He remains a legend, a modern-day Robin Hood who fought against injustice and corruption, one humiliated narco at a time. El Marino Loco's saga is one of audacity, resolve, and rebellion against insurmountable odds. He confronted drug cartels when others trembled, employing unconventional methods to enforce justice. His tactics, though extreme, stemmed from his profound desire to safeguard his community and instill tranquility in a turbulent territory. Whether he persists in his crusade or has retreated to obscurity, El Marino Loco remains a beacon of valor in the battle against narcotics trafficking. In comparing him to renowned crime fighters like Elliot Ness and Frank Serpico, El Marino stands out for his unyielding stance against criminal enterprises. While these figures operated within legal boundaries, El Marino Loco ventured into uncharted waters, employing tactics that transcended traditional law enforcement. His impact on Mexican law enforcement is unparalleled, as few have dared to challenge drug lords with his fervor and cunning. While others like Genaro Garcia Luna and Arturo Beltran Leyva utilized more conventional methods, El Marino Loco's boldness and unconventional approach set him apart. In conclusion, El Marino Loco's legacy as a fearless crime fighter and guardian of justice endures. Whether he continues his mission or has chosen a quieter path, his name will forever resonate as a symbol of unwavering resolve against criminality.